I wanted to start off showing off my Airbnb in Rinku Town. It's this neat old building, had a nice communal space. The room I stayed in was basically 3 beds, so not much to show off, but I quite liked it if you're looking for a good spot. I started off today going to Kansai International Airport, not to catch a flight, but to ship my bags to Tokyo, as I'm headed towards Gifu, where I'm staying tonight, but a bunch of fun stops on the way, like this here is right outside Namba Station in Osaka. Taking this pathway here down towards Downton, which I saw last year at night. This is still early in the morning, so not a ton of tourists out. Here is the famous Gilco Running Man billboard, usually all lit up at night, but obviously not now. Headed to get my traditional Japanese breakfast and eat it in a empty section of the station, like a little goblin. From Osaka, I took a 30-minute train to Nara Park, here's the station right by Nara Park, to see the famous Nara deer. Went to see the Nara deer last year. It's a bit later in the morning today than compared to last year. It actually made it a little bit easier to get around because the deer were distracted by more of the other tourists, so you could walk around a bit more without getting hounded as one of the first few people there. Look at this cute little one going up to bully a child into giving her a shikasenbei. This one got a piece of my shirt. But some of these were just chilling under the tree, maybe got their fill earlier, maybe they were a bit tired because of the heat, or picked a good spot to beg. This one I think had the game plan figured out, asking the lady who was selling the crackers to sell the deer crackers to them. This one showing off the famous Nara bow. The deer actually bow for their crackers if they're polite. This one did it a couple times. Unfortunately, I didn't have any crackers for them. This is actually over closer by the station in a more kind of like fenced off area of the park. These deer just not involved in the rat race of trying to get the shikasenbei. These deer will actually end up like a bit healthier. There's a bit of a health problem with the Nara deer relying on deer crackers all the time and not getting the proper nutritions they get from grass. But moving on, I caught another 30-minute train, this time going towards Kyoto. I didn't know it was so kind of empty and farmy between the two cities. And there's Kyoto Tower. Here is a pagoda seen through a screen on a train, exactly how these landmarks were meant to be seen. I wouldn't have a ton of time in Kyoto because I was catching a bullet train, so all I got to see were these penguins that I saw last year. I wanted to get something in Kyoto Station, but this is actually going to be my first time on a bullet train, taking regular trains, ferries, planes, but first time whipping through a city on a Shinkansen, and I honestly wasn't prepared for kind of how fast things flew by. Here you see everything kind of whipping through. One of the things, you see the barrier up through the cities a lot, and you'll see it in a second, that you can actually see the barrier start to like warp. Here it is going by some farmland. Because the buildings are a bit further away, it looks like you're going slower, but it's actually going a lot faster than when you're going through the city. Got some cool, there's a mountain that's missing half of it. I guess it's some sort of mining. Hopefully it wasn't some sort of... it's gone. That took me to Nagoya Station. Nagoya is the third biggest city in Japan, but doesn't get a ton of tourist play, especially compared to Tokyo and Osaka and the smaller population-wise Kyoto. But still some neat stuff to check out, like this small shrine with this cool stone elephant right next to a Boss Coffee vending machine in a parking lot. Here's an intersection that just kind of struck me as kind of neat. It's one of those kind of like multi-crossing intersections, kind of like Shibuya Scramble. This is a small tunnel underneath the station that I used to cross. Honestly, it's a fairly confusing station getting around. First stop of the day was, you can see it on the horizon, getting closer and closer, the Nagoya Science Museum. I actually couldn't go inside because I was on a bit of a fixed schedule, but I want to see it just because it's a cool landmark, and outside they had this big JAXA rocket that looked really cool compared to the Science Museum. Here it is, both of them and the backside of it together. A couple other things I wanted to do. One was go to the Pokemon Center. It had an exclusive Celebi plush and this screen design that I think is pretty cool. They just redid it. Passed probably the best named pizza place in Japan, Dookie's. Who doesn't want a Dookie pizza? And this felt right at home. It's talking about how much they love OSU. It's actually Ozu. This is the Ozu Shotengai, or Ozu Shopping Street, right next to the Ozu Kannon Shrine. Probably the most famous shrine in Nagoya. Certainly one of the more picturesque shrines I've seen in my time in Japan. Here's the whole shrine grounds. Spinning around a little bit. Also, you kind of see this, I guess, ogre character, maybe it's a Tengu character painted on the side of the building. Either way, it's pretty cool. Also, so the famous Ozu Shrine pigeons. Pigeons so famous for being aggressive that they worked their way into the show medalist when someone stopped by the shrine and ended up covered in pigeons. Speaking of medalists, right by the shrine is the Nagoya Sports Center, the ice skating rink from the show medalist. They had a small display up there. They actually have a larger costume display that travels around to different figure skating competitions, so it wasn't there now. And before heading out, I found some of this Kyoto lemonade, this lemonade brand that I really love but can't find most places. Had no problem finding it in Nagoya and Gifu. Gifu, where I'm heading now, gonna spend the night there. I actually want to do more exploration of Gifu. Here's the kind of area right around the station. There's the Oda Nobunaga statue that features in Talbot Eccentrics and Shoshimin, How to Be Ordinary. But this, I just headed towards my business hotel. Here it's nice and small. Basically, it's a place to sleep. And you get a window. I was on the 7th floor, so you got this great view of the other buildings surrounding the hotel. And that was day 3, traveling from Osaka to eventually Gifu. I noticed last year on my trip, like the travel days, the videos, I just kind of like omitted them or combined them because I didn't do much on them. So when planning this trip, I was like, all right, I'm going to make this travel day more interesting and just kind of like pop in little stops instead of spending whole days places. And I think that was a good idea because I didn't plan on how much my feet would hurt. This was by far like the hardest day. Like uh, blisters from 2 days ago, I got sunburnt at Expo 2025. So basically, everything was really painful. But I kept kind of like pushing myself to do things, kind of by timing. Like I had 30 minutes to wait in Osaka, so like, oh, I'll just walk to get breakfast. Um, I really wanted to see the deer again, but I didn't go to the Great Buddha Hall, which was like originally part of the plan. Um, in Nagoya, kind of like everything I wanted to see was in this like I think it's like a quarter to like a third of a square mile. In this one little patch of Nagoya, so I was like, "Oh, this is going to be really easy to like walk around in." And I think it would have been if I wasn't in so much pain. I really like hit a wall walking around Nagoya and was just kind of like shuffling through the city. Still got to see the things I wanted to see, which is important. Uh, had a lot of like complaints about their limited public transport compared to other big cities, um, but ultimately liked Nagoya, liked the trip. But the next 2 days are car days, and really I think kind of saved the trip where I got to spend a lot of the time sitting and moving around and wasn't on my feet for 25,000 steps. So look forward to those videos coming out. Thanks for following this one. Bye.